Hello again. Well, I thought I'd now talk to you a bit about posture. I'm going to put this in a couple of parts to try and make it easy in layman's terms and try and get you to think about what you're doing over this lockdown period where lots of people will be sitting down, their posture will be poor, and so it's trying to educate you in a way that you can actually help yourself. So let's look at it two ways. First of all, we'll look at the base. The stronger the base, the better the individual is. And so what you should have is ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, ear alignment. Now, a lot of people don't because of the nature of their posture. So let's look at people when you see walking around town. What do they do? How many people these days have a mobile phone? So if you look at me from a side profile, every inch you forward flex your neck, you put 15 pounds of pressure on your neck. So if you're looking down to your mobile phone, it's like a 3-inch forward flexion. That then becomes 45 pounds of pressure. As you do that to work your mobile phone, your hands go in, you internally rotate your shoulders. So your chest muscles get tighter and weaker. The overload is that the trapezius muscle on your upper back has to do double the work. Because A, it's supporting your head in forward flexion, and your chest isn't helping out because it's internally rotated and weak. So that then leads to your posture with your head forward, and then you lean your shoulders forward, so you have not got that plumb line that you actually look for. So that then spreads the pressure, the longer you keep it, down towards the lower part of the back, which then gets tight because you've got forward flexion. So if we look at this from the perspective of actually just walking, what happens is the chest muscles are tight. So I'm going to give you a bit of anatomy and physiology. This is the sternum, the breastbone, and that's the clavicle. Now, this is where your pectoralis major starts. It starts on your sternum, goes across to your clavicle and into your humerus. The job of the pectorals is to bring the arm back to the midline. Now, if you are compromised with posture, your neck's forward, your shoulders are around, you can't actually do it properly. And so what also happens if these muscles get tight, your intercostal muscles in between your ribs, which are used in inspiration and expiration so you can breathe deeply, they get compromised and they're actually tight because they're in this position all the time. So if you sit down a lot, you've got a sedentary job, and you actually sit down and lean forward like so, you're typing or you're working at a till or whatever, you've got the forward flexion, internally rotated shoulders, chest muscles tight, overload goes on the trapezius at the back. So what we should have is thinking, okay, I've got to lengthen these chest muscles. So simply by just shrugging upwards and backwards, you'll see the chest muscle lengthens. What you need to do is make sure the arms stay by the side. Now, if you want to see how tight your chest muscles are, literally just lie on the floor and take your arms out at an angle like so, like a letter Y. And now they should comfortably fall on the floor, but you'll find a lot of people, they can't even reach the floor because it gets so tight. So if you go to your bed at home and lie on the edge, so pretend your armpit's on the edge, you're lying down, let one arm drop down over the edge of the bed. On a good range, it should fall down around 45 degrees. That's assessing the clavicle fibres. We bring the arm in, shake it loose, let it go out another 45 degrees, another upper 45 degrees and back. Again, that should have a drop over the edge of your bed. You'll find that when you take it to this position, when we're stretching the sternal fibres here, it doesn't even touch parallel to the floor. So that's telling you have too much internal rotation. If you keep this, it will manifest itself in shortness of breathing when you want to breathe dynamically, so you will fatigue easier. If you sit on your settee and watching TV, you'll be rounded in like so. So we've got to think, we've got to lengthen this area. Now, the stretches for chest and upper back, you'll find plenty on the internet. There's not a problem looking for them. Today is not, it's just trying to make you aware of different things. Also, by sitting badly during the day, you can have a posterior or anterior tilt to your pelvis. So, what does that look like? If you strip off at the end of the night and you see the front of your pelvis, that bony point here, and it's protruding out at the front, it's telling you it's an anterior tilt. I mean, it's protruding forward. What that means is, this is your hip, and So we put that here. The muscles are tying from your leg to your pelvis and to your spine. They are tight and they're actually pulling your spine into the midline and they're tilting your pelvis forward. So the muscles that you flex your hip with and one of your major thigh muscles are tight, but they actually need to be lengthened. It also means that the muscles on the back, the gluteals and the hamstrings are weak. Now, if we have, you can also have a posterior tilt. And what does that look like? Well, basically it looks like where you just sank down like so. So we look from like so, and your posture's poor, your pelvis is sticking out at the back, and you're just weak like so. This will compound itself and it will compress the vertebrae on your spine. So we take the spine again. You've got all these vertebrae on the base of your spine and nerves come out of each one of them. Now, if there's too much compression, what actually happens is it squeezes the nerves and causes pain, what many of you might know as sciatica. So how do we resolve this? One simple thing you can do is stretch your hip flexors, the muscles that flex your hip, stretch the hamstrings and the gluteals, and do the pose of child, it's like a yoga pose, which then lengthens the muscles in the lower back. Do all those 3 morning, noon and night, just for a minute or 2 on each, and you'll lengthen the muscles so it lengthens the gap which has been decreased where the nerves are in the muscle. So in the next clip, we'll talk about legs. So thank you for now. Rewind it if you're trying to get all this in. I know it's a lot of information to throw at the same time, but you're trying to think. You should have ear, shoulder, hip, knee alignment. Shoulders need to be back to give you good posture and to allow you to breathe deeper, to have more activity, to be able to perform longer in activity. Thank you. Goodbye.